You're listening to the Dynamic Thinking Project podcast. This is episode 71, and today's topic is CERN and the Conspiracy. Hey everyone, Adam Muselli here. Welcome to the Dynamic Thinking Project podcast. If this is your first time listening, then thanks for coming. This podcast is released every Friday and show notes are found at the website themindtechinstitute.com. It's all one word. Come back often and feel free to add this podcast to your favorite RSS feed or iTunes. You can also follow me on Twitter and Facebook. All links are in the show notes and the website. And now, let's get started. In this episode, we'll talk about CERN as what it is and some of the conspiracies around it. Other related topics such as quantum computers, the Mandela Effect, and some prophecies predicted the end of the world. We'll talk about each of these topics in a separate episode. It's just too much and it will take too long, so the best way to keep this episode around 20 minutes time is to talk about each topic in a separate episode, and that's actually better, just to keep everything organized and easier to understand. Another thing worth mentioning is sometimes I may refer to or mention some religious or biblical passages, but I do that for historical, social and cultural references and not from a religious standpoint. It's true, I might not be the biggest fan of any religion, but that doesn't stop me from reading and researching. Although I might have read the Torah, the Bible, the Quran, the Vedas, and most other religious books, probably more than those who believe in them or follow them. And since I am multilingual, I read these books in their original text, and that helped me a lot to understand the difference between religions and religious people. Well, simply the first is a system and the latter is often a blind follower. It's sad, but I digress. You still need an open mind to be able to understand this episode though. And if you want to know more about how to become open-minded, you can simply go back to episode 60, or if you consider yourself as an open-minded person or already listened to episode 60, then you can certainly enjoy this strange episode right after we get the intro out of the way. If you're interested now in learning and becoming a fully qualified hypnotherapist, neuro-linguistic programming, NLP practitioner and master practitioner, a life coach or a counselor, now you can study all that online. All you need to do is visit mti.edu.au or themindtechinstitute.com, and you will find all these courses along with many other courses once you click on the online courses tab. All our diplomas and advanced diplomas are accredited and recognized worldwide. And for more information, all can be found online, themindtechinstitute.com. Going back to our topic, what is CERN? CERN is a massive particle physics laboratory. It is in fact the biggest structure or machine was ever built. The name CERN stands for Conseil Européen pour la Recherche Nucléaire, or simply in English, the European Organization for Nuclear Research. The $9 billion CERN Collider Complex is located in Geneva on the border of France and Switzerland. It is buried at a depth of up to 175 meters, that's about 575 feet. The tunnel complex runs along a 27 kilometers, around 17 miles circuit. Scientists involved in the project say the laboratory was built underground because the Earth's crust provides protection against radiation. They also say it was buried out of respect for the natural landscape, which sounds slightly ironic considering the massive damage the collider could possibly cause down the road. The stated goal of the laboratory, as published on CERN's website, is to probe, quote, the fundamental structure of the universe, end quote. In September 2015, Europe's Large Hadron Collider, LHC, have smashed together subatomic particles at nearly the speed of light. An unprecedented experiment that has some of the leading voices in the world of science and religion sounding the alarm on the risks involved. And CERN is perhaps most famous for its discovery in 2012 of the elusive Higgs boson, which is named after a British physicist, Peter Higgs, who predicted its existence in 1964. The so-called God particle, which allows other particles to build up mass as they pass through the Higgs field. Today, however, CERN is more famous, or perhaps more infamous is the better word, for an upcoming experiment in which scientists will technically play God in an effort to recreate the conditions immediately following the Big Bang event that gave birth to the universe millions of years ago. Supposedly around 13.7 or 13.8 billion years ago. However, both conspiracy around CERN and even some mainstream observers have some concerns that scientists may not even fully understand the ramifications of what they are doing and the real risks involved. The physicists at CERN may claim they are simply researching the hidden secrets of our universe, but some believe their goals are far more nefarious. Some of the strange allegations CERN and its Large Hadron Collider have faced over the years may sound crazy or absurd to those who don't keep up with what's happening, but if you're a researcher and been keeping up with the patterns and connect the dots logically, I mean, not in some paranoid, schizophrenic conspiracy way, well, we will find really strange things, and they are all linked to CERN and the LHC, the Large Hadron Collider. For example, some believe that CERN is opening a portal to hell. Not all are Christians who believe that. Some of them are hardcore scientists, and hell isn't meant as a theological way, but the unknown or the disastrous unknown. There are some who believe that the unintended or the intended effect of colliding subatomic particles at the speed of light is to literally open the gates of hell. But why would anyone think such thing, you may ask? Well, for one thing, scientists at CERN have openly admitted that they are attempting to create antimatter. And what is antimatter? Simply, antimatter are subatomic particles that have the reverse electrical charge of normal subatomic particles. And advocates of the Big Bang Theory believe that antimatter was created along with everything else during the formation of the universe. But unlike matter, antimatter is very rare. And in December 2016, scientists at CERN finally managed to use a laser to create atoms of antimatter out of hydrogen, which they are able to maintain in existence long enough to study very briefly. And I gotta admit, it was a significant discovery. However, immediately, many Christian observers accused the scientists of trying to open a portal to hell. And there was one publication known as Christian Truther published an article claiming that, quote, antimatter would be demonically charged particle retrieved from the pit, bringing with it chaos and destruction, end quote. Now, I just need to explain something here. I personally sort of understand where they're coming from. Regardless if I agree or not, I just keep an open mind to be able to understand the whole spectrum of the story. Now, here's how they came to this conclusion, since I very much understand the Bible and most of the religious books. You see, the town in France where CERN is partially located is called Saint-Guinis-Pouilly. In English, it's pronounced like Saint-Guinis-Pouilly. The name Pouilly comes from Latin Apollicum, and it's believed that in Roman times a temple existed in honor of Apollo, and the people who lived there believed that it is a gateway to the underworld. It is interesting to note that CERN is built on the same spot. That's why religious leaders drew a connection to a verse straight out of the book of Revelation, chapter 9, verse 1 to 11, which makes reference to the name Apollyon. The verse states, quote, "To him was given the key of the bottomless pit. And he opened the bottomless pit, and they had a kind over them, which is the angel of the bottomless pit, whose name in the Hebrew tongue is Abaddon, but in the Greek tongue hath his name Apollyon." End quote. Another interesting thing also relating to the bottomless pit is Apollyon and CERN, the very weird opening ceremony of the Gotthard Tunnel. The problem, of course, is that CERN and the Gotthard Tunnel are hundreds of miles apart. All they have in common is that they are both located in Switzerland. But with that said, the opening ceremony of the Gotthard Tunnel could make the most die-hard skeptic raise their eyebrows. I watched the whole thing and it's really freaky. And you can watch that weird, cringy ceremony where you see workers and scientists all over dancing, and there was a goat figure with the dancers and some ghostly demonic and alien entities coming out of the tunnel and dancing a very weird dance like a possessed person. Anyway, you can easily find it on YouTube. Just search CERN tunnel ceremony. And speaking of satanic strange ceremony and CERN, in 2016, there was a video showed up on the internet that appeared to show an occult human sacrifice ritual taking place in front of the Hindu deity Shiva inside the ground of CERN complex. And just in case if you don't know about Shiva, Shiva in Hinduism is actually the god of destruction. The person filming the video appeared to have turned on the camera to film strange activity in the shadows outside his window. To his surprise, several cloaked figures walked into the spotlights near the statue of Shiva. Then one young female dropped her cloak and laid on the ground, while a second cloaked figure pulled out a knife, walked over, and apparently stabbed her in the chest. Now, the person with the camera, he laughed at first at the probably the absurdity of the scene, then started breathing heavily when the knife came out, and finally cursing and panicking once the female got stabbed. Now, if you ask me, I can say that the person really acted authentically, or he is the best actor I've seen probably in years. Just watch the video and decide for yourself. You can also easily find it on YouTube. After the video was released, a CERN spokesperson admitted to reporters that the video was actually filmed inside CERN grounds. However, they claimed that the entire ritual had been staged as part of an elaborate prank. And this is actually what he said, quote, These scenes were filmed on our premises without official permission or knowledge. CERN does not condone this type of spoof, which can give rise to misunderstandings about the scientific nature of our work. CERN welcomes every year thousands of scientific users from all over the world, and sometimes some of them let their humor go too far. This is what happened on this occasion. End quote. Now, the spokesperson admitted that only CERN employees or visiting scientists could have taken part of the spoof. But, according to the spokesperson, CERN would be launching a full investigation into the video. Both Popular Mechanics and The Guardian covered the story, but CERN, since then, never released any findings from the investigation, if one really did take place. However, as with most areas of science and achievements CERN have achieved, we cannot deny the many unknowns, distrust, and conspiracies around the facility. That is, of course, until the scientists either discover the true nature of our reality or they finally created a black hole on Earth and sucks us into it. Even Stephen Hawking himself was worried about such experiments, which may create unforeseeable pitfalls. Stephen Hawking, the prominent physicist, seems to agree that, and I quote what he said, the God particle found by CERN, referring to the Higgs boson, so the God particle found by CERN could destroy the universe. End quote. That's what Hawking wrote in the preface to a book, which is a collection of lectures by scientists. The Higgs boson, which CERN have been working on since 2012, could become unstable at very high energy levels and have the potential to trigger, as Hawking described, and I quote, a catastrophic vacuum decay which would cause space and time to collapse, and we could not have any warnings to the dangers. End quote. And by the way, Hawking wasn't the only voice predicting possible catastrophe if CERN continues in the atomic fast lane. Astrophysicist Neil deGrasse Tyson told Eugene Meerman on his Star Talk radio program that the experiment could literally cause the planet to explode. And in late 2008, when CERN was first firing up the engines on its atom-smashing machine, Otto Rossler, a German professor at the University of Tübingen, filed a lawsuit against CERN with the European Court of Human Rights on the grounds that the facility could trigger a mini black hole that could go out of control and annihilate the planet. Of course, the court tossed out Rossler's request, but he actually succeeded in generating heated discussion on the possible dark side of the experiment. Speaking of the dark side, we really need to wrap it up. We're approaching 20 minutes. But speaking of the dark side, in 1989, Tim Berners-Lee invented the first internet browser at CERN. That internet browser gave birth to the World Wide Web. And of course, you know what you need to type to access the World Wide Web. You simply type www. And in case if you don't know, Hebrew letters are also used as numbers. So each letter has a numerical value. And www in Hebrew is simply 666. And 666, which is an evil number, or more precisely, the mark of the beast, according to the book of Revelation. I think it's chapter 13, verse 15 or 16. And to add more surprise on that, CERN's logo also consists of 3 numbers. And those numbers, maybe you guessed it, are 666. I'm just saying. Is that a coincidence? I don't know. But please Google CERN's logo, go to images, and see for yourself. Very eerie indeed. You see, the CERN conspiracies are countless, and many people even believe that CERN actually caused many global strange phenomena, such as the collision of another universe into ours, as I mentioned in the last episode, episode 70. I mean, YouTube the floating city over China. Of course, I know it can be explained as Fata Morgana, which is a type of mirage, but it does look like a whole different universe or reality was bleeding into ours. That's why I understand many people believe that collision is the main cause of the Mandela Effect, which we will talk about in a couple of weeks. So, could all that be true? Or we're just making or giving CERN more than what it is? I personally keep an open mind to all possibilities, because simply we don't know what we don't know. Let's end it at this for now. And once again, if you would like to study and become a fully qualified hypnotherapist, neurolinguistic programming NLP practitioner, and master practitioner, a counselor or a life coach, now you can study all that online. All you need to do, just visit mti.edu.au or themindtechinstitute.com, and you'll find many courses once you click on the online courses tab. All our diplomas and advanced diplomas are accredited and recognized worldwide. And for more information, all can be found online, themindtechinstitute.com. That's it for today. Thank you for listening. If you have any questions, as usual, you can email me. The email is on our website, themindtechinstitute.com. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, especially if you are listening to this podcast on YouTube. The Dynamic Thinking Project podcast is released every Friday. Until next time, take care and enjoy your weekend. This is Adam Muselli, signing out.